Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. Today's Friday, August 1st. I'm Sean Duhamel. Thank you so much for joining with us and tuning in again this week. Now, originally, we were planning on conducting a survey of our members this week to solicit your thoughts, your feelings, your ideas on the content that we publish both in our newsletter, The Voice, as well as within these weekly updates and our teletown hall meetings and so forth. We really want to hear from you in terms of what you would like to see either more of or less of, or something we hadn't even thought of before. However, we've decided to put off that survey for another week to allow us to focus our attention this week on the cost of living adjustment. There's really two reasons that we want to focus on it this week. First and foremost, nearly every retiree, if you're eligible for the COLA, you have now received the July or the FY26 COLA payment began in the July pension checks. This would apply to all 102 local retirement systems, as well as for retirees of the state and teacher systems. Because the budget was signed on July 4th, early this year, there was never any question of a delay in the state and teacher COLA. So again, all eligible retirees received their first COLA payment for fiscal year 26 in the pension check that you just would have received. Now, in terms of eligibility, you need to have been retired prior to July 1st of 2024, so last July 1st. If you retired on or after July 1st of 2024, unfortunately, you are not eligible for a cost of living adjustment until next year. This 1 year cooling off period or delay that coincides with the state fiscal year has been part of the COLA law going all the way back to the creation of the COLA in the late 1960s, and it continues to this very day. So this is nothing new, but inevitably we always get questions about this, so I wanted to be super clear about it. In addition to the COLA being included in the July check, we are thrilled and very grateful that 17 of the 102 local retirement systems have increased their respective local COLA base for fiscal year 26. Now at the local level, the COLA base ranges from a low of $12,000. The town of Amesbury, the Amesbury retirement system remains at $12,000, and we're hoping that they'll see fit to increase that in the near future. They're the only system remaining at $12,000, but it ranges from $12,000 all the way up to a high of $30,000 COLA base in the town of Montague out in western Massachusetts. We have 7 systems that are either $20,000 or above, but the bulk of systems, the majority of systems, still range in the $13,000 to $15,000 space. And we will be including a full report on the COLA base, as well as the funded status of every single retirement system, how everyone did in 2024. And 2024, thankfully, was another banner year in terms of investment returns. 2025 so far has been relatively flat. The last information that we received shows a little bit of an uptick over, say 2 or 3% returns through, I believe, May. I haven't seen the June numbers yet, but fingers crossed that the second half of 2025 is productive. But by and large, our 102 local systems, as well as the state and teacher systems, continue to do very, very well. And since 2021, so over the past 4 years, we have now seen 74 local retirement systems increase their local COLA base. And there are several systems, Bristol County, for instance, and the town of Wellesley, that have, and those are just two of many examples of local retirement systems and the local legislative bodies working together to increase the base more than once in the past 4 years. And a lot of thanks needs to go to our local retirement board members, not just the elected members who tend to carry the ball in terms of advocacy of increasing the local base, but all of the 5 retirement board members in virtually every system have played a very important and crucial role of ensuring that the success of the retirement system, the investment success. And there has been a lot of success to be proud of over the past 40 years with our pension funding at both the state and the local level. But ensuring that that success is shared with the members of the system. And the best way to share in that success is by continuing to improve the COLA in incremental steps going forward. And a lot of progress has been made in recent years, but we still have a lot of work to do. And in that regard, the focus at the state level, not just for the state and teacher retirement systems, but also in terms of expanding COLA benefits to provide an enhanced benefit for long-term retirees. Those issues are the focus of the ongoing Special Commission on the COLA, on which Frank Valeri serves as an appointee of Governor Maura Healey. The COLA Commission was created in the last year's state budget, the FY25 budget. Governor Healey initiated that process at the request of our association, and the legislature saw fit to approve the creation of that commission in last year's budget. Now, the commission has been up and running since January of this year. Initial steps started taking place last fall, but the commission got formally underway in January. It is a 9-member commission, again, on which Frank Valeri is one of the 9 commissioners. They meet on a monthly basis, and there have been several months where there's been more than one meeting a month. But working with the Public Employee Retirement Administration Commission, PERAC, whose executive director, Bill Keefe, serves as chair of the Special COLA Commission. The actuarial team at PERAC, led by John Borak, is providing the actuarial services that the Special Commission relies upon to model out and cost these various proposals or ideas or concepts. Because it's one thing for us to say we'd like to increase the base to $16,000 or $20,000 or come in with this brand new enhanced or senior COLA benefit, but we need to detail what it's going to cost. Who is this going to apply to? How does it factor into the pension funding schedules? Because these benefits must be funded going forward. The state cannot create a new benefit and leave it unfunded. The way our pension funding schedules and pension systems, not just here in Massachusetts, but across the country operate, is on a funded basis, not pay as you go, like it took place 40, 50, 60 years ago and allowed all that debt to build up that we've been sort of perpetually pushing that boulder up the hill ever since, and we've moved away from that. But because of that, that requires all of this work, and it was important for us to bring together the key public pension policymakers along with state officials and others to come up with a solid, sustainable plan to improve the COLA benefit, to create a new benefit for long-term retirees who were career public employees and allow them the ability to catch up a little bit better with inflation. Now, the front page story in the July edition of The Voice, we detail quite a bit of our focus and our hopes for the COLA Commission. So I'd like to refer you to that. If you haven't read it already, please go back and take a look at it. We get into all the facts and figures and kind of some examples of what may take shape through all of this. Now, at the end of the day, the focus of the commission really, again, just to reiterate, increasing the state and teacher COLA base above the $13,000 base that's now existed since 2012, and we believe is well overdue from being increased. At the same time, creating the new enhanced COLA benefit that would be paid in addition to the traditional COLA. If the legislature were to approve that, the enhanced COLA would take effect immediately for state and teacher retirees, and it would be a local option across the 102 local retirement systems. Because of state law under Proposition 2.5, the legislature and the state cannot mandate new benefits on municipal governments. It has to be local option. So as much as we would like to just see whatever the legislature passed take effect at the local level immediately, legally that's just not possible. But we will be working very closely with the 102 local retirement boards, just like we did back in 1997 and 98 when the COLA reform law was passed, and we crisscrossed Massachusetts back at that point, working with our local retirement boards, going to city council meetings, going before town meetings, meeting with mayors and so forth to get these benefits adopted. And it has been widely accepted and extremely successful over the past 25 years or so since that law took effect. So we're going to be doing the exact same thing when it comes to this. Now, in terms of the time frame, we're anticipating that the Commission will probably wrap up its work in early October, and that would follow with a report and recommendations filed with the legislature sometime in early to mid-October is the general time frame. Things could change based on circumstances, but once that report has been filed, then it will be incumbent upon us to advocate before the legislature to get the recommendations adopted into state law during the current legislative session, with the hope of having it take effect, whatever changes come about for FY27, so for the next fiscal year. Once the COLA Commission issues its report, we'll be holding a special teletown hall meeting so we can inform all of you of the details, and we can take your questions and comments and so forth. And then we can get to work together on getting it implemented by the legislature and then getting it adopted at the local level as well. So stay tuned in the coming weeks. Even though we're about to enter August as of today, we're very busy here. We have a lot going on. The COLA Commission is hard at work. The PARAC staff has been doing an excellent job of pulling together and modeling out all these potential benefit changes. So we're very optimistic as to what's going to come next, and we're very hopeful, again, that we can have this done sooner rather than later. Before I wrap up today, I just want to remind everybody to save the date. Our annual meeting is taking place on Friday, September 12th at White's of Westport, down in Westport, Mass. As you should know by now, we've made the decision to rotate around our annual meeting, to hold it in different locations throughout Massachusetts, to give all members the ability to come to an annual meeting, or regardless of where it might be. We have not decided where the 2026 annual meeting will be just yet. We'll be making that announcement later this year or early into next year. But 11 a.m. Friday, September 12th, if you are in and around the Westport area, or you don't mind taking a ride down to the South Coast, we're hoping for a great crowd of a few hundred people. We'll be announcing who our guest speaker will be in the near future. But with that, if you have any other questions regarding upcoming meetings, there will be 5 meetings taking place throughout Massachusetts this fall before we jump into 2026 and the whole calendar starts over again. But please look to the July edition of The Voice or the next edition of The Voice, which is scheduled to go to the printer in about 10 days. We'll be printing the whole events calendar for the remainder of 2025 within that newsletter as well. But thank you again for tuning in. I hope you're having a lovely summer, and we'll be back to you again real soon. Bye-bye, everybody.